With greetings to everyone, the purpose of this presentation is to address the present situation in health field or health sector, where in this presentation we are usually trying to focus the innovative concepts on sustaining the hospitals and health institutions without giving extra loads to the patients in context of underdeveloped and developing countries. Usually what happens in this context, the country like Nepal and the similar other countries, that the patient goes to the hospital and has to pay the tax to the government because they are ill, number one. Number two, the hospital, when they are built or they are formed, the authorities and usually the promoters, when they invest for the hospital, the cost of the hospital goes so high, the whole amount what is being spent for building hospitals or buying some costly equipments, the financial load ultimately goes to the patients because there are no other resources. And the other hand, the country like this do not have any insurance system, proper insurance system, due to which this problem arises. So these innovative concepts has one way at least of having a solution for solving this problem, for sustaining the hospitals and health institutions without giving extra loads to the patients in context of underdeveloped and developing countries. I want to address on behalf of this institution and myself to the Honorable Health Minister, young dynamic, Mr. Gagan Thapa, all health bureaucrats of Nepal, the health personnel, the patients, and also at the international level, the other countries' fellow doctors, to have or to give the attention on this topic so that this can be used other places also and other institutions if necessary. In these concepts, though it may be somehow not acceptable initially for the government rules as per the government rule, but this is the building we are seeing is one of the conceptual this map or the figure which is going to be implemented by 2018 end, which has been already started. This is for the Skins Health and Referral Center, which is DISHARC, and we are planning, and which is already started, but this plan is made for the same concept that has been just described. Here we see there are two blocks, the hospital block and the commercial block. This DISHARC is not a hospital, but it is the Skin Health and Referral Center, where we are trying to implement that concept which has just been projected. Now this hospital block is this one, and the commercial block is a separate building adjacent, but it has got a separate purpose. Now here we see that it has got all these descriptions are not in detail required. This is for the construction purpose. These have got two floor basement where for parking and the facilities. And here we see the detailed map of that one. This is this part we are talking of basement. Now in the same part, here we see that the commercial block again, the focusing here, and which is this part, having different things like pharmacy, the ATM, bank, laundry, tailoring, the surgical instrument shop or music and mobile shop product, or whatever the requirements of the general public, the patients which will go in for the doctors, there will be a club for the doctors and staff of the same organization, and at the same time the facilities for the other public outside, because it has got a direct access from outside, whereas the hospital do not have, or the health organization which they do not have. Now these facilities when we start this building in 2018, and it will be almost by 2019 beginning maybe. At that time, the purpose of this is that the rent, we are going to give all these parts, the commercial block for on rent, and the rent which we are getting out of that is not for just gaining money or the commercial purpose, but for paying the bank as an installment. Because if we do not do this, the whole load that we are going to pay the bank or the for other purpose, the load will go to the patient. So if we have this complex adjacent, at least the rent coming out of this complex will be paid to the banks and the patient will be relieved by that. That is one purpose. And we see the different commercial block, first floor, different requirements will be fulfilled for the patient. Patient parties will coming inside, the doctors, staffs and all. So convenience as well as the commercial, the background, which will help ultimately the patient, especially for the commercial purpose or for the financial aspect. Now we see the commercial block second floor for the restaurant, the beauty parlor, as this is the skin, the health center. So these are all related things which will be set up in this part of the commercial block. Here it is, there is the map. Here we see again in commercial block we will having seminar hall, and usually when you make a seminar hall in hospital, that is used only usually by the hospitals, and the other days they are just lying without being used. So seminar hall will be present in this commercial block, so that the income coming out of that by giving on rent the seminar hall for other organization, what will happen is the money we get out from this will be supported to the patient, so that they don't have to pay a high cost for this, coming to the hospital and getting treated. Now, once the seminar hall, the project facilities, the club for staffs, doctors and the promoters, all these are for the helpful and having a complex there, so that usually what happens, we doctors, when you are seeing the patient, in this type of countries, we feel that where to bring the gas cylinder from. Sometimes we don't get that. Sometimes we don't get the fuel, and all these problems we are trying to solve here, that doctor can concentrate to the patient rather than going around for all these things. Then commercial block fourth floor will be a tourism source. Now we have the concept of hospital tourism. The concept has already entered Nepal, and we want to promote that part also in this block, commercial block, so that that can be helpful ultimately for the patient. Then commercial block fifth floor will be having a prayer places, the garden and cafe, and all these facilities at the top floor. Coming to the hospital side, we have all the facilities of hospital block, especially the ground floor, the reception will be there with all facilities. And usually what happens, what I want to project here and emphasize here is that all these facilities are in other hospital also, not will be only in this health organization. But usually what happens is that all this cost which is beared by the hospital ultimately is loaded to the patient. But here I want to say that if we have the commercial block along with this, this support will go to the patient ultimately, and the load to the patient will be decreased. Hospital block first floor with the reception and the wards and all that, but this is not well concerned with the main topic, because this is for the facilities and plan which is going to be implemented, so this will be taken up in short. The hospital block second floor with all hospital or health organization or health centers requirements are there. Then operation theatre as usually required for the health organization. Then the National Dermatopathological Lab will be established in this health organization. That is lacking in this country, so that will be also facilitated. Then fifth floor will be for administration, account, then the other administrative requirements, blocks and chambers, then all requirement for the administrative block required. Sixth floor for academic and technical committees, we have different technical committees which will be there, like the sexually transmitted infection, leprosy, pediatric dermatology, and all these. These are lacking here in this country, which will be facilitated here. Now, again at the end, I would like to say that the facilities which have been projected are in other hospital also and will be in this health organization also. But the most important thing which I would like to emphasize and project again is that the difference between the innovative idea for giving relief to the patient by attaching this organization with a commercial block so that we get rent out of it, and that will be supported for paying to the bank and other facilities which will be provided in health organization. So I would like to draw the kind attention of all concerned to think upon it as it is an innovative ideas. And Nepal, of course, there is no such organization which exists today, but it is coming up in future. But even in other countries, I don't find this sort of the idea in popular, or it's not seen. So this is an innovative idea, and I think practically possible, which will be good in future to give support to the patient, especially in financial part and also in service part as well. Thank you, everybody.